Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana Post Wrestling. And I don't know if you're doing anything this weekend here in the great city of Toronto, the great Canadian city of Toronto, but WWE is returning since 2002 to the Sky Dome, and it's going to be a big weekend. And, well, we're joined by someone who knows the city very, very well, a very special Torontonian who has a lot going on this weekend with all the wrestling events. We're joined by Chris Van Vliet.
So good to see you guys. Thank you for having me on here, and I can't wait to be back home in Toronto. I love that you still call it Skydome. That's so funny to me.
Yes, I have to. I can't. I'm born here. I'm from here. My whole life. It hurts me when I hear all the advertisements of the Rogers Center. I know when I hear the right wrestlers, the Canadian wrestlers, still call it the Skydome too, then I'm like, yeah, I feel you. That's what it is, and it always will be.
We had a friend visit last summer, and it wasn't till after he left that he realized the Rogers Center was the Skydome, and he was so disappointed because he's like, I've been out this building so many times and didn't realize that's where Rock Hogan happened.
Yeah. Right, I was there too. Like, there's a lot of memories, a lot of wrestling memories in there. WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 18, and then this weekend, Elimination Chamber, and man, I can't wait.
Absolutely. Like, this is the first time WWE returning back to this like stadium here in the city. And like, of course, they've come to the Air Canada Center. See, I'll call it the old name on that.
Look at you. Wow, the ACC.
The ACC. Yeah, real ones now. But like, this is their first time returning back to such a way bigger stage here in not just like Toronto, but Canada. This is the big first like stadium show up here in a very, very long time.
I was there in July for Money in the Bank, but you're right. Like, this is just taking it up. It's going from an arena to a stadium show. And I know we'll get into it, but when I look at this Money in the Bank card, it feels unpredictable. And I felt that way about the Royal Rumble too, where it was like, all right, maybe 1 to 3 of these guys will win. And then, I don't know, where Jey Uso wins, and we're riding that roller coaster now. I look at this men's Elimination Chamber match and I'm like, honestly, like, 3 or 4 of those guys you can make a really strong case for right now, and I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, and after the Rock's promo last week, I don't know if they know where it's going to go at this point, which does make it exciting. We had the similar kind of feel last year going into WrestleMania with, again, Dwayne showing up and throwing a bit of a spanner in the works. But yeah, definitely getting that sense. But I think that's what makes, for me, the weekly TV building up to it so much more exciting. Like, there's so many different combinations of people together this year that will be great. Like, if we get Cena and Cody, that's awesome. But if it's Cody and Punk, that's great. A 3-way perhaps would be interesting as well. And now we've got the whole element of The Rock being involved. Like, what's that going to happen? I think it does. And I agree with you about the Rumble. I think something I enjoyed so much about it this year was the unpredictability about it. And as wrestling fans, we all love a surprise. We like to kind of know where we're going, but we also like to be surprised at the same time because we're all fickle. We're wrestling fans. That's how it is. But I think, it's, if I was told I was going to go to a stadium show with 4 matches a year or so ago, I'd have been like, come on, is that it? But I think how loaded, especially the men's, is the fact we're getting this Cody and Rock segment. And for the Canadians, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn in a stadium in Canada, I think is just going to be electric. And for me, that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Our WrestleMania here.
Yeah. I just like to remind people that this is like judging a movie when you're like 35 minutes into the movie. And there's a lot more story to be told here. So like, maybe the Rock and Cody segment doesn't seem to make sense right now. Give it a week or 2 or 3 or 4 and see where this plays out. Like, if we were to time travel back in our DeLoreans 1 year ago to February of last year, we'd be like, where is this thing going? What's going on here? What are they even doing? And then we ended up getting arguably one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. So give this some time, let it play out. But I love the fact that we're it's like less than 60 days to WrestleMania, and we still don't really know where all the big players fall in here. We're talking Cody, we're talking Punk, we're talking Roman, Rollins. Is Randy Orton going to return? And I think that's exciting that it's not this like, oh, well, here we go again with this person and this person for the fourth time.
It's definitely something like refreshing. Like last year, the whole thing with that Vegas press conference that really like changed everything when The Rock is basically like, I'm fighting Roman, and Cody's like, wait, no, you're not. And now it's like, we were assuming that The Rock wouldn't be involved with WrestleMania with the way things have been going. And then all of a sudden, again, this just hits a reset of like, wait, The Rock is kind of teasing that maybe he will be involved somehow, some way. So whether or not the adrenaline leaves Cody's soul and transfers over to the final boss, I guess we'll have to see that on Saturday with this offer he can't refuse. What is this offer that he's got for Cody Rhodes, and will Cody accept it? It's a big thing.
We're going to have a much clearer path, I think, to WrestleMania after this. We're going to have a much clearer picture of what this looks like. Also, I want to remind people, what was the gift? What was the gift The Rock gave to Cody last year that we haven't even talked about since? Right. Will that ever be revisited? They haven't brought it up since. So I'm kind of worried that like that was just a storyline that fizzled out and nothing happened there. But
like a lockbox.
There were a lot of loose ends.
Yeah. It's like, will we get a corporate Cody with The Rock? Like some people are like, oh, he's going to be in his corner now. It's like, I don't know if that's the direction, if we're going to get more bloodline, like will this somehow spiral into more, like Roman seems pretty tied up. So it gets a lot of people like, I think there was a lot of negativity on this promo about the soul snatching promo, but at the same time, it's getting so many people talking about it. So I don't hate it as much as everyone else did. I just kind of think that it was confusing, sure, but does it have our interest? Yeah, we're all like going to be glued, seated, watching to see exactly what happens.
I feel like Cody selling his soul and Rock being like the reincarnation of some sort of corporate boss, it feels too obvious. And maybe that's where they go, but to me, it just feels too obvious. So I bet if we chat again in like 3 weeks, we'll be like, there we go. There it is.
Right there are like some things that come to mind is like, I can't see Cody. Like you said, it's a little obvious if he's just like, oh, now I'll be your wrestler for you. You be my mentor or whatever. Like there's still a few other pieces, like whether or not we're going to go towards like a John Cena versus Cody, whether or not Punk with his favor and Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Another character that's been floating around is Drew McIntyre. Like The Rock was pretty prominent in him re-signing and all that stuff. They did that video and like they seem to have some sort of connection. I do maybe think that we could go in sort of that avenue with Drew and Rock down the line, but I'm liking it. We got like a stacked roster of really big stars, and the fact that we don't know where we're going and we're all trying to put the pieces together ourselves. Again, it makes it pretty interesting and exciting.
I just feel in my gut that if this is John Cena's last WrestleMania, this has to be John Cena's last WrestleMania main event. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we get there. He hasn't won a match in a long time. And that's, I think, part of his story. It really feels like they're doing the hero's journey here. And if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put my money on John Cena to win Elimination Chamber. I think it's like he can't win the Rumble. He can't win Elimination Chamber. How's he going to get there? How's he going to get that match? How's he going to get to number 17? And I think that that's the ride they're going to take us on.
Like, yeah.
I feel we're maybe getting a three-way. And I think Cena's winning the chamber, but I think the favor with Paul being involved with the Bloodline and The Rock, he's your corporate guy. Punk becomes The Rock's corporate guy. He gets that favor and he adds it and makes it a bit of a three-way. And I think that there's so many kind of, when everyone's doing their fantasy pairings, there keeps on being like someone left out. And there has to be a triple threat somewhere, I feel, with this card, because I can't put everyone to pairs. And for me, I think that makes sense of the three kind of storylines going around with those guys at the moment, because Punk's whole thing is he's won championships. He's never headlined WrestleMania. And that's kind of his thing he's going for. And could that cause him to sell out and join The Rock?
And I think that we need to remember that things don't just happen by accident in WWE. They've been writing these storylines. I think Triple H said in an interview recently that they write the storyline something like a year in advance, like looking towards WrestleMania. Obviously, they have to take into account when injuries happen and things like that. But I think that they're slowly feeding us. They're like drip feeding us this story, and we're eventually going to figure out all the pieces, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
I think that's what makes this weekend so exciting, though. I think so many times in the past when we've had these, fast lane or roadblock or whatever it is, it's been a little bit, well, we know this guy is going to be main eventing WrestleMania. He's not losing the championship at Fastlane or whatever. And it's a little predictable. And I think the fact that having Jay win the Rumble, I think was an excellent move, because it does leave the kind of quote unquote bigger stars still questionable. And for that other main event, for the Cody belt. So it makes this Elimination Chamber so much more important than I feel this pay-per-view has been in previous years. And it's exciting being here, and it's in our city, and we get to see it. We get to be there.
Yeah, and I haven't been home in a while, so I'm so excited to go back. So excited to see my parents. They still live in Pickering, Ontario.
Ooh, shout out Pickering. Shout out Durham.
The Durham region, baby.
Wow.
So
and then of course you're also gonna make sure you get some wings at Gabby's in Toronto when you visit, of course.
I have fond memories of getting wings at Gabby's. I know this is going back a while, but it was like 08 or 09 when Gabby's used to do Monday like $1. It was like 10-cent wings, I think. 10 cents?
10-cent wings.
I think that was it, right? 10-cent wings. So it was like $1 for a pound.
Pre the recession, it sounds like, but yeah, yeah, it's still good. Mondays and Wednesdays are the day to go. I mean, today $7 martinis and half-price wings. You can't go wrong with that.
Jeez, I'll see you there.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like hype with this big show and everything. And like you mentioned, Davie, like I'm the same with you. My big draw of this is now having the two, arguably most famous Canadian wrestlers right now wrestling in WWE, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and we've had their WrestleMania moment now, like as a tag team. We've had them wrestle each other so many times, but this one feels like the ultimate like encounter. The we are destined to do this forever, and this is it. Look, two Canadians inside a Sky Dome. Like, this is the draw, I'd say, for myself being a Canadian, a proud Canadian, and most of the people I'm sure going, like, Chris, like this is the match for me. Like everything else is just a little extra, I think.
And I don't even care how we got here, to be honest. I love that Kevin Owens is so believable in everything that he does, but I really don't care how we got here. And I don't care if we have this match 4,000 more times. Like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, just they're magic every time that they're together, wherever they wrestle. So I love this. And as you guys know, that Toronto crowd is always so hot. So I think that that's the match. You're right, that everybody that's there live is going to be excited to see the most.
And they never miss. And it's just the perfect setting for this match that I can't wait. Like, I think a lot of people were sort of fancy booking it to Mania. And then you go, no, of course you do it in Canada. Like, you've got to do it in Canada.
Maybe we get Randy. We might get a few returns or surprises on the show. Like Randy could be one of them. Roman Reigns in the chamber showing up could be like. There's a few like things that like I imagine Randy versus Kevin is the direction for WrestleMania. But that you said leaving people out, it does make me wonder what's Sammy's WrestleMania. Like, what is Sami Zayn's WrestleMania 41 going to look like? Like, I'm a little worried.
It's like an embarrassment of riches right now. Like when you look at the roster, it's just so stacked, the men and the women. And there's only so many matches at WrestleMania, even though it's 2 nights now. There's only so many matches and there's only so many people that can be part of it. And it's fun to sit here and talk about what's this person going to do and what's this person going to do, because we genuinely don't know. And it's been a long time since we've been able to sit here and talk about WWE in this way, where it's like, we don't know, because for a while it was pretty predictable.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I've always said, like, I love watching my TV dramas, and the things I love about it is ending an episode and thinking about it. I'm going, what's this character gonna do next? Or has that person been killed? Are they alive or whatever? And that's what I like, is when wrestling serves me that. And I think for quite a few years we weren't getting that. You could sit down in October and map out the gist of WrestleMania. And I think the fact we're not there, the fact that they've managed to get baby faces over, which was a problem for years, that there weren't these guys. We have multiple top guys now that you've got to factor in. And it must be a headache for, Triple H trying to put together this kind of card. But yeah, it's a wealth of riches now in WWE. We haven't really commented on the women, which I think that's also a bit up in the air. But where are you leaning towards for Rhea Ripley's opponent?
And this is the thing. I don't know where that one's going to go either. Like, there's genuinely anybody in that match could win. And like, when you go back even just like 5 years ago, you would look at a match like this and you go, well, it's going to obviously be this person. How are we going to get there? And that'll be the story, but how do we get there? I don't know. Rhea Ripley is red hot right now. And I feel like whoever she's in there with, it's going to be such a great match. I'm curious where they go here, because we seem to be in this era of like surprise. Like, and I think that fans are starting to realize, especially after the Rumble, that like anything could happen. It could be the person you least expect.
I think the Toronto crowds, like I've been to a bunch of the shows at ACC, Rico, again, like they've been filling it. They've been proper filling these things. But I think having an experience where like I wasn't at WrestleMania 18. Sure wasn't at WrestleMania 6, right? That's the right one.
6.
And like I feel like there's almost like a pull to this event with like the venue itself also being like attached, and now having The Rock like return back to the Sky Dome where he fought Hulk Hogan and stuff. Like I feel like you mentioned the Toronto crowds are like really rabid and everything, and like I'm sure some of these big characters like a Rhea Ripley coming into the city is just going to get like huge ovations and big reactions, because I'm feeling like all these characters right now in WWE are actually hitting. Like baby faces are like killing it. It heals that every character right now is like feels like the top. Like they're finally like making everything click. At least it feels like, because the last few years, especially before the WrestleMania, like way before WrestleMania 40, it just didn't feel like there's something missing, right? And ever since Papa Paul has taken over, it just feels there's so much like buzz, like the city specifically. There's just so much buzz for everything right now. And as a wrestling fan for a long time, I know we both like can all agree, it's like it's like cool now. It's like I don't have to like, you don't feel like you're talking to like some niche like closeted wrestling fan. It's like no, like everyone seems to be really into it. And I've told Davey a few times, like my brother who does not watch is like, oh, John Cena's retiring, yeah, screw it, I'll just buy 10 tickets. It's like, you don't even watch and you're like excited. You're more excited about this than I am somehow. So I just love like how WrestleMania season, especially last year, this year, just feels like everyone's like the energy train, the hype train is like so real, and I'm loving it right now as a fan.
I think the thing that really resonates with me right now is the fact that we're finding new fans. Like for the longest time, it was kind of like that conversation from Step Brothers. Like you like wrestling? I like wrestling too. Did we just become best friends? Yep. And now you're getting people who are like, hey, what's this thing going on with wrestling? Who's this Rhea Ripley? Who's this Liv Morgan? What's Cody Rhodes? Is his dad that guy? Like you're finding new fans for the first time in, man, probably first time for me since I started watching wrestling hardcore in the Attitude Era. And that to me says that we're in a good spot.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I'm seeing so many new people, whether they were before or they knew about wrestling. It just feels like now it's back in that like that mainstream. It feels like it. It feels like it. I'm not jinxing it, but it does feel like it's everywhere. You can't avoid it. So I'm loving where we're at as like fans. We deserve this. We've been following through the trenches, through everything. We deserve good wrestling again.
And wrestling's definitely going to be taking over the city the whole weekend. There's so much going on. We were lucky enough. We went to the Northern Crown event just yesterday at Blood Brothers. They put on another fantastic show. But both yourself, Chris, and us, we're hosting a bunch of things for the whole weekend. So we're setting up our own little mania in the city this year with our own little festival feel. And Chris, I believe you're kicking things off this Friday.
Yeah, Friday, 5 p.m. at Comedy Bar on the Danforth. There it is, my special guest, Natayla. So it's going to be one Canadian hanging out with another Canadian. She has promised she's going to put me in the sharpshooter. That sounds like a threat. Like, that doesn't sound enjoyable. Maybe I won't show up to this, but I can't wait to have her there. There are still a handful of VIP tickets available for that. The VIP starts at 4 p.m. for this one, cvvtix.com. Then Sunday, after Elimination Chamber. This is hosted by Rogue Presents. I am hosting the Hurt Syndicate. So we've got the current AEW tag team champions. All three members of the Hurt Syndicate will be there. Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. VIP there starts at 3 p.m. Then I'm going to be hanging out. We're going to be doing like a Q&A there. Then we're bringing on the Hurt Syndicate, and I can't wait. This one's at Department downtown on Sunday. And we're going to kind of also be like rehashing like everything we saw the night before at Elimination Chamber and try to put the pieces together and figure out where we go from here to WrestleMania. So that'll be like the first half of it. Then we bring on the Hurt Syndicate and just talk about how they've been dominating in AEW. They've just kicked this into another gear in AEW. And I love that. Tickets for that one also available at cvvtix.com, cvvtix.com. So between what I have going on, what you guys have going on, and Elimination Chamber, there's a lot going on in Toronto this weekend.
I can already hear the people doing the "We Hurt People," the chant. Everyone go into the show. Yeah. If you got to do the chant. That's like one of the most over. It's so funny, but it's so good, and it's totally helped like get them over. You can see the smile on MVP's face every time he walks out, and you hear the crowd doing it. He's like, "Yes, that's got to be one of my new favorite wrestling themes." Instantly, that track is so perfect for those guys.
I walked into the gym with that in my AirPods. I'm like, I feel like I could just take on everybody.
Yeah.
I can fight a bear.
Yeah, I can't wait for that chat. I think the Hurt Syndicate, like it was such a shame, like the Hurt Business, that it was only a performance center kind of act. It was the pandemic. It was no crowds and things. And to finally have it click, like the vision that I feel they wanted to have all along, and it's paying off. I think it's rejuvenated like Shelton certainly, and Lashley. Like it's been really fun seeing this act just work and click. And I think it's really given AEW a boost it's needed these last few weeks, these last few months as well. And just from the chat point of view, just MVP is an incredible talker. We're good friends with Damian Abraham, the host of The Wrestlers, who's friends with MVP and had him on the show. And he's just a fascinating guy to listen to about wrestling, about his life, about things outside wrestling as well. So I really think these are going to be fantastic guests this Sunday.
I can't wait. And so if you're watching this right now and you live in and around the Toronto area, or if you're going to Elimination Chamber, I would love to see you guys there. Like I said, a handful of tickets still available, so jump on those while you can. And we got 2 great conversations between Friday and Sunday.
Look at that. Like you said, Davie, it's almost like a festival here in the city, whether it's between there's your 2 shows. So first Friday, I know how you have it earlier in the day so that people can make it to SmackDown. Is that
that's the
purpose?
plan. Yeah. So so my show will be done by 6:15, 6:30 with plenty of time to get to SmackDown. SmackDown, of course, starts on TV at 8, but I believe do some sort of dark matches or whatever at 7:30, but you'll have plenty of time to get there. So that's been a question I've had a lot of people ask, like, can I do both? The answer is yes, of course.
And then Sunday, everyone will be, coming down from the high that was Elimination Chamber. So hang out on Sunday, just kind of around the corner, and another great conversation. And then between that, I know Smash Wrestling is going to be doing a show during the day on the Saturday. We're doing our live wrestling cover songs at Gabby's. So join us for that before Elimination Chamber. But there's like so much things going on here. Yeah, maybe we'll see if
look at this. Oh man.
Yeah, we got
what's on the set list.
So the set list is I'm wondering if I could squeeze in We Hurt People in there last minute. That might be a hard one to for our friend Ivan to learn, but we have our friend Ivan Rivers, the celebrated folk icon. He will be doing wrestling covers live starting 2 p.m. before Elimination Chamber. 5-minute walk from the Sky Dome to Gabby's. And like look at this. There's so many things going on in the city, and then something that like we like really pride ourselves on is like, look at this. Like I've walked into bars with wrestling on and there was not a soul in there, and now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like all these events in the city, and I truly love to see it. So if you are in the Toronto area, please come out to any of the things that we got going on. If you're not coming to our shows, go to something else. Like keep the spirit alive, because I'm really like excited to not only see this like community get built up and continue. But like, look at us, like multiple shows, wrestling, and then a stadium WWE show. So it is our WrestleMania. They might not ever come here, but damn it.
No, it'll come back.
You think so?
It's been a while, but I think they'll come back.
We need a new stadium, maybe. We need like an upgraded. They just upgraded the Skydome for Taylor Swift, and maybe it's still not good enough.
Just for Taylor Swift, they upgraded it.
It felt that way, yeah.
It did feel like that, yeah. They were joking, but it did kind of.
We think about wrestling fans taking over cities. Man, Swifties taking over a city is terrifying. It's great to see. Like, I love people loving what they love, but yeah, Swifties are a lot more terrifying than wrestling fans, I think.
My favorite thing that I saw was all the Swifties who couldn't get in because the show was sold out, standing in like the parking lots outside just to hear the music. It's like, that is passion.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of like wrestling fans. Like we saw like the Swifties just completely took over, and like, yeah, there was people outside the Skydome. Security was like, hey, you can't stand here. And they're like, what are you going to do? We're listening, listen to Taylor Swift. Well, this is great that like not only that again WWE is coming back, but Chris, like you're doing 2 shows that will like bring a lot of people out in the community and everything. So like I think it's really important. And you have Natayla, who is a Canadian talent. So right now I'm very Canada proud to see that. So super awesome.
And I'm just so grateful that this is even a thing. Like we sold out in Indianapolis right before the Royal Rumble, and it was packed house in there with Carlito. That episode's on YouTube if you want to go check it out. So grateful that I even get to do this and that you guys allow me to do this by coming out to the shows. So thank you to everyone who's ever watched even a second of one of my interviews that has allowed this to happen. Like, I still can't believe a kid from Pickering, Ontario gets to do this. So, man, my mind's blown.
Well, again, where can people find Tix online?
cvvtix.com, cvvtix.com. There are still a handful available, but jump on it if you don't have any plans right now for Friday evening or Sunday afternoon. I would love to see you there. I'd love to be able to shake your hand, give you a high five, and chat a little wrestling with you.
Excellent. And you mentioned you have some coming up like outside the city with what future WWEs to coincide with some events, or?
So yeah, and the other one I have announced right now is the Thursday of WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. So the tickets are also available there at the same website, cvvtix.com. But Thursday night, 8 p.m. at Circa Resort and Casino. Would love to see you guys there if you happen to be going to WrestleMania 41. And then we haven't announced it yet, but SummerSlam in New Jersey. My wife's from New Jersey. Feels like it just kind of makes sense to go there and do a show as well.
Excellent. Well, follow all the details, and maybe we'll catch you this weekend, Chris, as we all.
Oh, I'll be at Gabby's.
Yeah,
you got to come. You got to get those wings. You got to get those
barbecue wings.
Oh yeah, of course.
Come sing a song, wrestling karaoke, Chris. I know you got one.
Nobody wants to hear that. Will we have adrenaline in our souls?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know you want. I know you can sing. I bet you can.
Wow.
There we go. You'll have the backing of everyone anyway, so it'll sound great. More information on our event at Gabby's, just go to poisonrana.ca. It will give you the link to all the information. It's free. It's 309 King Street West. Come anytime from 2 p.m. until the start of the show, and we'll see you there. We'll all be hanging out. It's going to be a great time.
I'm also accepting very off like wrestling. So far, someone has put in a request to sing With My Baby Tonight at karaoke. Chris, we've done these wrestling karaoke events kind of all over the world now, a few of these. And obviously you get your Codys and your Edge themes, especially here in Toronto, but people have requested some very strange wrestling themes out there. So
how about 3 count?
No one's done.
We haven't had that.
No one's done it.
Hands together, sing along with.
It's a banger.
We'll party on forever.
American Male, someone did that was ridiculous.
That's a deep
the Mountie,
the Mountie was pretty wild, and Ass Man, yeah.
So. We'll see you guys there, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can have another chat in the near future about some post Elimination Chamber, maybe pre WrestleMania.
Absolutely, great to
see
happened.
You guys. Yeah, we got to figure out what's going on with The Rock and Cody Rhodes.
We got to figure this out.
We're gonna have a lot more to talk about.
I'm pretty sure Cody is still just stood somewhere looking baffled and confused right now.
My soul. What do you want my soul for?
Brandy's just, are you all right, Cody? Like,
everyone, I hope you have a fun Elimination Chamber, whether you're here in spirit or you are in the city. We will see you soon. And thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us here today. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye. And be safe.
ahoy!
Poisonrana.